gym and in the car. With our advice, you could go far. We fuck things up and we make mistakes. We talk about our sexy dates. We host events and we go to clubs. But most of all, we're still in love. It's getting hard for this to rhyme just as well. Cause it's bed hopping time. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. It's bed hopping time.
Hello and welcome to the Bed Hoppers podcast. My name is Mr. H.
I'm Mrs. H.
Thank you for joining us today. Now, I must first apologise for two things. Two things, I tell you, two things.
You apologising for me?
No, not for you.
Oh, good.
The first thing that I'm apologising for is the fact that we're late.
Oh, yeah, but I'm always late.
Oh, well, you always arrive exactly when you mean to.
Exactly.
And this is kind of linked to the second thing, is that the quality of my voice may vary today, mostly because we went away on holiday and it's destroyed, really. I think it's fair to say I may have picked up some sort of cold or swinger flu or swinger cold or swallowed too much foam at a party. Who knows? I don't. But what I do know is this is the best I've felt for about a week. So this is what you get. We needed to knock out an episode, quality craft, something that would delight and entertain and enthrall you. But you get this strange tone of me, basically.
It's much better than it was.
It is. Well, I did sound like Scooby-Doo, then I sounded like James L. Jones, and so there's been a whole host of voices, none of which were impressions that I was making. So
I hope you didn't inhale foam.
I swallowed foam. I'll tell you for why, but not yet. We'll get to that. Before we jump into the whole thing about talking about our sexy week away, what I do want to say is that we are 91% sold out on the Bedhoppers Assembled event in Birmingham on the 6th of September.
Yes.
That is pretty fucking cool.
Very
well done. If you bought a ticket, awesome high fives sent virtually and in person when I see you. Thank you so much for picking up tickets. If you're still interested in coming along, move fast, move quick, because them's going like hotcakes. I assume hotcakes sell quite well.
Apparently they do. I've never understood why. Because they're hot and you need to buy them whilst they're hot.
Okay, well, get them while they're hot, then eat them when they're cold.
I'm quite intrigued about the history of this phrase.
I'm not fussed at all. But the important thing is tickets are still for sale. There's only 6 or so left of the fuckers.
Not many.
So please reach out. Let us know. Reach out on Swing Hub, Fab, Twitter, X, or whatever it's called, Instagram, email, TikTok, whatever. Not TikTok, because by the time you come to seeing it, the tickets will already be gone.
Yeah, well, I didn't realise there was a messaging facility on there.
Yes, even though you've been running it for a year now, year plus.
Running's a loose term, but
it is a very loose term.
Navigating it.
Email, I'll reply to, because you don't do that. And all the others, same, really.
Yeah.
So TikTok is your one platform.
But if you send an owl, I probably will.
What a hoot.
I will probably interact.
Really?
Because I like owls.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad that we've established this.
Yeah.
Anyways, the event is doing well. Thank you for getting tickets. Now, what are we talking about this time around? Well, the reason that we're late is because we went on a sexy holibob.
We went to Cap d'Agde.
Cap d'Agde, which if you've...
France.
Yeah, south of France. If you've never heard of it before, it's kind of a gigantic naturist village, basically. There is a
self-contained village.
Yeah.
There's obviously a surrounding
gated community
bit outside of that, which is the region of Cap d'Agde.
I think it's like a town or something. We should have done some research before we did this, but we wanted to tell you.
Yeah, but we want to talk about what's in there.
Yeah, so inside
it's
is
near
it.
Montpellier.
It is. It's near Béziers Airport, if that's where you're going. That's how we got there. We flew from Luton. Yay. Yeah. And then went straight to Béziers, and it's like a 20-minute cab ride. Very reasonable.
Quite easy.
And they drop you at the gate.
Yeah, you can't be dropped inside the resort, but we'll explain that also.
Yeah, so the thing is that we went on Holibob that was organised, or a trip that was organised by Spicy Match and also Libertine Event, which, if you don't know, is Kate from Wanderlust Swingers. Yeah. So we booked to go along that as paying guests. So we thought we'd talk about some of the adventures. We may not be able to cover it all in one episode, because I think there's quite a lot to talk about.
It was a fairly packed agenda.
It was a packed agenda, and we thought we'd talk a bit about our experiences, but also sort of give you a bit more in-depth knowledge about Cap d'Agde, or at least the stuff that we remember. Is that fair?
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Are Spicy Match the only kind of operator, I guess, that hosts events within Cap d'Agde?
I don't know if they are. I think they're certainly the biggest.
They certainly seem to be the biggest.
Yeah, and they host a variety of events throughout the course of the summer. So summer tends to be like the swinger season.
Yeah.
It is a naturist village, so clothing is optional, but some places you are not allowed to wear clothes.
Yeah, and a few of the areas it was mandatory to remove all items of clothing. Although, and we'll come to this, but it wasn't like massively enforced. It wasn't like strictly someone waving their finger and going, no. I did see a variety of people wearing little bits of clothing here and there, but you're right, there are some which absolutely are strictly no clothes.
Yeah, I think in the actual village itself,
Yeah.
I think it's naturist optional, but highly encouraged. And some of the venues and some of the places we went to were a little bit more strict with their regulations on whether you could wear things or not. So we trotted down on Sunday. Now, we were there for a full week,
This is Sunday
and
to Sunday.
we thought we'd take a couple of days to get used to the climate, get the lay of the land, find our way around, and then the actual event started on Tuesday.
Yes.
So we stayed in a hotel. What was our hotel called, wife?
Nature Bar.
So this one was
Right at the
straight in,
beginning
right at
of
the
the gated
beginning,
community.
as you get to the gate,
Yeah.
and you've got to go into like the touristy board
Yeah.
section, and you've got to basically sign up to be a French naturist and pay a card to get into the place.
You can buy like little passes or
Day
like
passes or week
day
long or whatever.
Yeah, it's very reasonable though.
It's very good, but you do have to buy a pass to get
Mm-hmm.
in there. So we did that. It took 2 minutes. When we went, there was no one else there, so it was very simple. We went straight through, and then immediately our hotel was to the left of the gates.
Yeah.
And so we basically got in, and it was very simple to check in, got shown to our room, and it was a pretty good room, right?
Like a little self-contained apartment.
Yeah.
And I get the feeling that a lot of the accommodation for hotels are of a similar ilk, sort of little self-contained units almost.
Yeah, rather than a sort of regular hotel,
Yeah.
this is a little bit more like a serviced apartment kind of thing. So our first place that we stayed at had a couple of rooms, had a living room, had like a mini kitchen with a
balcony.
little oven and a balcony where we could sit outside in the sun. And it had some facilities. It had like a miniature pool there.
Yeah.
And so it was quite nice. It was it felt a little bit like going to a posh Butlins sort of thing where you get your oven and you get your kitchen utensils
Yeah.
but also it's like a very standard.
But the hotel had lots of other amenities like spa facilities.
Yeah, so-
A really nice pool. We didn't use any of it.
No, we really didn't. Well, we literally plonked our
just too
stuff down
busy, but-
after. I mean, it didn't take too long to get here. It was only a few hours of travelling, a couple hours for us to get to Luton, and we wanted to fly straight into Béziers, which is the nearest airport. So it really was about 5 or 6 hours in total of travelling around and wandering. So we wanted to get out and have a look. And the first thing we discovered was the sort of marina area, which was just a few minutes walk, and that was very much a series of bars, a series of little restaurants.
Loads of restaurants.
And literally all the seating was really curiously sort of placed facing towards the marina, which was sort of had like a 2 or 3 meter pathway sort of road or whatever that there was no cars at that bit
No.
that went through. And we were sort of sat down and we were like, what's going on?
We were looking at.
Yeah, because we ordered some food and it was a very nice sort of, we went full French with it, like charcuterie board and meats and cheese
Wine.
and some wine and bread and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was all very simple. And then we discovered that actually this was a great people watching spot. Now, you have to forgive me, I don't remember the name of the place we stopped at. It was something about a cave. Something de cave, probably.
Bouillon de cave.
There we go.
So it literally means cellar from the broth.
Okay, fine.
No, broth from a cellar. That would make more sense.
Maybe. But the cool thing about this particular place was that we had pretty much front row seats of watching all of the sites that came past. Now, what happens at CAP is during the day, there's a mix of naturism, people walking around with naked or pretty much naked with sarongs on and all this kind of stuff. But in the evening, people like to dress up and go to various clubs. And there's a variety of swinging clubs and BDSM clubs and all sorts of things, nightclubs and all sorts of things going on. But people really like to put in the effort. So there was a whole range of outfits, everything that was mesh-based, transparent, to jewels, to top hats, to gimp masks, to leashes, you
Some
name it.
tremendous
And
outfits.
from every single body shape, colour and size, it was amazing. And as a people watching thing, we were like, because we hadn't gotten naked at this point. We were like, okay, we're just going to wander out and see what's going on. We sat there for like 2 hours and it was fabulous.
It really was. But I think interestingly, although the vibe of the whole village is obviously naturist friendly, in the evening, you're right, actually people did wear clothes of some description because they wanted to dress up a little bit.
There's very much a
theme
peacocking
dress.
sort of aspect. And we were really very lucky in that we ran into some people that had been to some of our events before.
Oh, yeah.
We were there.
And been to CAP before.
And they were able to give us some advice. So thank you to them. They know who they are, and they were able to sit down and have a couple of drinks with us at some points. And we did bump into them every single day.
Oh my God, every single day. It was so cute. And you think in a place that big, because it is really big, lots and lots of people there. We actually did spot them every day somewhere.
Yeah. So we got used to, had a bit of lay of the land on the first day. And on the second day, some other friends had flown in early. So we were able to hang around with them. They sadly had lost their luggage. Their luggage had not turned up.
So sorry for them.
They had a couple of days of trying to sort their shit out, basically, and trying to get ready for the inevitable parties without having all of their stuff with them.
And the thing is, the parties we were going to, although they weren't heavily themed like we have been accustomed to with some events where they're like properly themed, like circus or, whatever, they were more colour-based themes. But there were still themes, and you still had like preparation that you'd done in advance of going. So I felt really bad for them that all their carefully constructed coloured themed outfits were now sat somewhere on a plane.
Now, getting to CAP, right?
Yeah.
We need to reverse a little bit because I think we need to set some context. Okay. So just before we got to CAP, a couple of weeks before, what happened to you?
Oh my God, mon Dieu. So I think I've mentioned before on the podcast that I do suffer from cold sores. Infrequently, I will add, because although I've suffered from them for, 28 years now, they are infrequent. And they often happen if you're stressed or run down, or you've had a bad cold, or your body's fighting off something. Sometimes they will manifest themselves in very annoying cold sore virus.
If you're going to an event.
Or, yes, you can bet your fucking bottom dollar you're going to a sodding event. What happened, literally 9 days before we went, a cold sore.
So
livid.
So what we did, we got straight to the doctors.
I'm very adept at noticing them, and the tingling at the first tingle, I'll attack them with Aclavir. And you can now get pharmacy medication, which you have to go through a pharmacist to get. And again, it's like a course of antiviral, antibiotic type things called Aclavir, which you can sometimes slow down the ferocity of the cold sore, or in very rare cases, it can stop it altogether if you get it fast enough. But once that tingle's there, you can't really stop it. You can just hopefully heal up the process.
And I think, because this happened before we left, it was pretty much a countdown to see whether it would clear itself up before we got there. And we wanted to give it a couple of days of being clear before you're able to make out with people or do anything, because
I'm very responsible. Yeah, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. They're awful. And I know as an adult, if your first outbreak of a cold sore can be horrendous. So I'm always very, very mindful. Even after it's gone, I give it 2 days just to make sure everything's fine.
So the build up to Cap Dagged was very much a countdown. Was very, very fretful. And you threw your toys out the pram on a number of occasions.
There's no point going.
And I think, every day I was like, it's getting better. I can see it's getting better. And then by the time we got to pretty much day 2 of being there, you were safe. You were safe, which was like, hey, that's fantastic news. However, this story does take a turn later on in the week. So not to spoil too much for you, but do keep this in mind.
Yeah.
So our friends arrived, and that was great. It was lovely to see them.
We went
to dinner.
Back to the salad broth.
Kind of walked around. And what we found with Cap Dagged is that there's lots of restaurants, there's lots of shops, and it's sort of set in a number of different sort of little areas. There's lots of sort of flats or hotel rooms around in these little curves. And within that is almost like a little miniature village with a spa shop, a supermarket, lingerie, winery, all this kind of cool stuff, bread places, bakers, all this good kind of cool stuff. It's obviously French. So it's it does, when you picture a French restaurant or a French boulangerie or whatever, that's what you get, basically.
They're very French.
It is. So, I remember going out and trying to source some breakfast for you. That was fun because we wanted to get you an omelette because you can't have gluten.
No.
So Mrs. H can't have gluten.
Everything's gluteny there because of all
the bread. It is very much bread and croissants. And
it's amazing.
With a bit of ham and cheese or whatever. So we went to this one place and we were like, can we have an omelette, please, or s'il vous plaît, or whatever. And the woman was like, no. And very, very, very adamant that no omelette. Omelette is after afternoon. So, and it was like 11 o'clock at this point. So we were like, well, do you do eggs? And then she strode out like some sort of militant woman, and then pointed very heavily and went, petit déjeuner. Yeah. And it was basically
2 eggs.
So you could get fried eggs and a bit of bacon
Yeah.
and like a coffee for like €9 or something.
Yeah. It was
So
very good,
it was very good, but it took a while to get used to that approach. So it was quite fun. It was quite amusing, and I love the fact that there was a constant stream of people walking in, smoking, hardcore, like
Oh
constantly
my God,
smoking,
everyone.
buying bread in bags and wandering off.
It's
And
so French.
It was, and then often clutching a glass of wine. But the amount of shops that were there was really useful because there was a pharmacy there. There was lots of clothing shops.
Loads of clothing.
Loads of sexy clothing shops, the likes of which you haven't seen in any other place.
Well, I remember saying to you, it was really funny because we looked at these little clothing shops and I wasn't expecting big things. I was expecting them to be, I don't know, typically you sometimes get like a little sex shop attached to a club, and they sometimes have some wares and little bits of bondage gear. I wasn't prepared for the fact that they would be really, really good quality club, like sexy clubwear stuff, the sort of stuff that you've tried endlessly sourcing on the internet whenever we've had an event to go to and been like, why can't we find what we're looking for? And yet here in Cup Dagged, it was all pretty much anything you could have wanted for any themed event ever.
From
was there.
shiny, good quality shoes for men to like really decent
Gold
patch
pants.
shirts to gold pants to there was also a lot of gay shops. I'd say gay shops, but you know what I mean.
And like sex
And
shops,
sex
like
shops
with products and
everything
lubes
from
and all
sort of
sorts.
the Temu end of the market all the way through to sort of almost Honey Birdette style
There's
stuff.
some really
like
expensive,
really classy.
like €500 per pot for a very, very nice looking dress with like sparkly stuff all over it. I was really impressed.
Which was fortunate because our friends obviously needed to pick up clothing for the
Yeah, they
event.
did.
So they were able to pick up a couple of bits just so they weren't caught short-handed. One thing I do want to point out is actually that you don't need to get loads and loads of euros to go to Cap Dag. In fact, we caught an Uber from the airport and going around all the shopping, most of the time you could just tap your card or tap your phone, which was an absolute lifesaver. Saved us getting loads of cash. I mean, we had a little bit of money with us, but actually it made so much sense just to wander around.
Yeah.
And, it's also useful if you're going to the clubs where you're not allowed your phones to have a contactless card as well, because that was quite handy being able to just boop and spend your money. It doesn't even count. It's not even real money because you don't even see it.
Yeah. We took €100 with us and we bought €40 back.
Yeah, so that's not bad, right?
So, yeah.
And I think part of that was just buying water and stuff in the airport. So, nicely done us.
Yeah.
Well done us for being seasoned travellers, apparently. So we had a lovely sort of chilled out Monday evening
Yeah.
with friends. That was really lovely.
Yep.
And then Tuesday was the start of the event.
Were you nervous?
I was a little bit. I think I didn't know what to expect. It was in a different hotel and people had been to a pre-event in Paris. So for people that were flying over, particularly there was a bunch of Americans coming over. And I think they were going to sort of a couple of clubs in Paris for the weekend and things like that. So we decided we didn't want to be part of that. And we just flew direct to Cap and got there a couple of days to sort of find the lay of the land. So for me, I was a bit sort of nervous about how it was going to go. We knew going in a few of the couples that we'd met back in, 2017, 2018
Different
in Desire,
events
different
along the way.
events, some of Kate's previous events and some other bits and bobs. So it wasn't that we were going in completely blindfold. And also we knew that some people that we know from events were coming along to the thing as well. So I would say I was a bit nervous about it, didn't know what to expect. But my general feeling was that I kind of liked Cap Dagged as the Naturist bit as a village, and I kind of liked the people watching. Oh, what I would say is that on the Monday, I also decided that I'd go naked.
Oh, yeah.
And give that a go. So I just stripped bollock naked down. Sorry for the visual folks in your head. Apologies for that. Just down to my sliders and went to shopping with you.
Well, we went to the beach as well.
Yeah, we did a walk along the beach.
We didn't do tons of exploration of the beach. We didn't explore Bay of Pigs or some of the sort of dune areas where we know or we've heard a lot of action goes on. But we did walk quite a way down the beach and they were really quiet.
Yeah, the beach was really, really lovely,
They're
really chilled
sectioned
out.
off, aren't they, into there's signs.
Naturist and whatever.
Naturist. Some of them I think you can take like kids because there were kids in the resort.
Yeah, so,
So I
there are
think some
naturist.
families are resident.
Yeah, well, it's a naturist resort,
Yeah.
not necessarily a swinging resort.
yeah.
But for those particular months during the summer, it becomes very much a swinging destination. But that's really only in certain areas, certain clubs, certain pools and that sort of stuff. So I would say, You know, the beach was really nice. We didn't really go looking for the Bay of Pigs, which is where all the guys famously stand around jerking off over the women. It didn't sound like our thing, I'll be honest. Although it would have been interesting to go and have a look. I think we just didn't ever, once the holiday and the event had begun, we just didn't find the time to do it.
There was enough going on anyway, to be fair, but kept us really busy.
Yeah, so we moved to a different hotel. And what hotel was that, wife?
So we then moved to Jardin d'Eden. Are you asking me this because you can't remember, right?
No, I
you
got it
couldn't remember through the whole thing.
Well, it was a lot of jardins going on.
Jardin d'Eden.
A lot of Babylon's going on, yeah.
And there were quite a few different big-ish, what I deemed to be the fancier end of the apartment stuff.
Yeah.
But we were moving to Jardin d'Eden, which was, again, a fairly large block of sort of self-contained little... There's a little kitchenette, again, a nice bathroom, all air-conditioned, a little balcony.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were all kind of on two levels, I think, weren't they?
Yeah, so it was basically a little enclosed campus. And it took us, with our friends who had lost their case, a good while to find the bloody place. Because it wasn't really clear where the entrance was. And it is just a little security gate that you go through. And then you're in this really nice little pool area and with a little bar, hot tub, and all the rooms kind of facing into the pool. And as Mrs. H said, it's on 2 levels. We were on on the ground floor level, so we could walk out and go straight to the pool pretty much around some steps. And, you know, it had everything you needed if you wanted to cook anything. And
but there was no restaurant on site, was there?
No restaurant on site, although they did provide breakfast in the morning, which was the typical French breakfast of bread, ham, cheese. There was also fruit, some cereals and that sort of stuff. But it was very, very bready, which for someone that is gluten intolerant, it's less useful. But to be fair, there were some things that you could nibble on, but it wouldn't have been like a substantial meal for you.
I will say on the subject of food intolerances, because, you know, there's people that might listen that might think, oh my God, yeah, food intolerance is a thing. I would say that France is not massively well accustomed to anything sort of sans gluten. They did have a couple of little products in the supermarket there, which you found, which I was really grateful for,
like gluten-free bread, gluten-free madeleines, which is nice.
If you went to a restaurant, there wasn't anything in any of the menus that had gluten-free specifically. So
I think you had to pick meals that you knew would
you just
not
had
have
to pick meat or eggs or something.
Grilled chicken and fries. And
but
I think
there was no gluten-free pizzas to be had or gluten-free pastas to be had.
No, it's very much you get what you get, and that was fine.
With bread?
So we get to the pool area, and people are already sort of starting to chill out there. So we literally put our stuff. Well, in fact, we got our room a little bit later.
Yeah.
We had to put it ironically in the room of our lovely friends who didn't have any suitcases.
Yeah.
And then we're able to, this is all nonsense. You don't really care about this, gentle listener, but it's nice for me to remember the order of these things. And then we were able to just chill out in the pool. We all got naked and just basically bobbed along the pool, sat in the sunbathing area, had a few drinks. And there was a bar, and the prices for that were relatively reasonable for like a hotel bar.
Typical for what I would expect on a holiday anyway.
Yeah, it was all pretty good. And so the first night, right, there was a bit of a thing going on. And the first night was Red Night.
Ah, yes. Yeah, to match the sunburn.
To match how pink we'd already become. And I will say, if you are going to Cap d'Agde, bring your own sun cream.
It's so expensive.
It's very expensive, particularly if you're using like the Factor 50 waterproof stuff and you're trying to be sensible. You're going to need to reapply a lot. The last thing you want is a burnt cock. And fortunately, I avoided that problem by having lots of sunscreen, but I did end up having to buy some.
You did have to buy one.
But it cost me like 25
euros
just for like a small...
So I would say use some of your weight allowance in whatever cases you're taking and take good sunscreen from the UK if you're travelling from the UK.
And worst comes
or wherever you normally
buy it in duty free or something. I mean, it's going to be cheaper than actually going there. And so this was the Jardin
d'Eden. Jardin d'Eden.
Well, this was the hotel, but that night was the Jardin de Babylon pool thing, right? Oh, no, was that doesn't sound right to me.
No. What did we do with the red night? Oh, we went for a meal.
Ah, yes, that was it.
We all went for a meal quite late on.
We went to a restaurant called GQ, and this was like a pre-organised thing.
Yeah.
And the food was...
Well, I think some people had some good meals, to be fair. I ordered poorly. I did not choose wisely. I chose a tuna steak thinking it would be very gluten-friendly for me. and it was very, very peculiar. So.
Well, I don't think the restaurant were equipped to deal with like 60 of us or whatever it was that descended upon the place. Whilst there were, that only filled like 3/4 to half the restaurant.
Yeah.
It took forever for them to take our order.
It's like 11 p.m. when we finished eating.
Yeah, and
crazy late.
Some of the food some of it was okay, some of it was not okay. And I mean, you had a tuna steak that was the size of, bigger than our dog.
It was an albatross wing.
Yeah. But the problem was that then when it came to paying, we all had to split the bills, and it was like a 45-minute queue to. So it was a bit and we're all in our little red outfits, which looked great.
Actually, it must have been quite weird for like the general bypasser, because the restaurant was like pretty much full of people in red.
Which was cool and it looked great. And then we went to Eros, which was a nightclub
literally next
door. And it was very European, very dance music orientated. It was
looked cool. It had like no roof, and it had like plants and stuff, like a living roof kind of vibe. So it was quite cool. But
and much of the group kind of went in. They're not really knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
And I don't think like we weren't sure if it was a club or whether it was a nightclub or whether it was a bar, whatever. So we go in there and it is just a nightclub, and yes, there are people wearing, little to nothing. And obviously we've still got quite a lot of people wearing their red things. But it was very much a dance EDM-based club. And that is absolutely not my jam. No. Also, some bint worked there, got up on stage with a glitter cannon and blew a whistle for like 5 minutes.
The whistle was a lot.
It was just nuts. So we didn't really stick around. We tried to stick it out and tried to see the spirit of it.
Yeah.
But it just
wasn't. It was
wasn't.
very, very, very loud. So you couldn't really talk if that's what you like to do. And we do like to talk to people.
I mean, I love to talk. That's why I do a podcast.
But you couldn't talk in that place at all. It was dance or nothing.
So, I mean, great if you like dance music and you just want to go away and dance the night away and have a good old time and get some drinks or whatever. Probably your scene. Absolutely go for it.
Yeah, 100%.
I'd recommend it because it was busy and they were playing tunes that people seem to be enjoying, like that kind of thing.
Great.
For me, I just wanted to end it. But that was fine. That's just a taste thing. But we entered into the spirit, tried dancing a little tiny bit, and then we lost the will to live and then went. And then just wandered around kind of in the thing. Then we found a really nice cocktail
place. It was late
place.
then, though. It was super late.
Yeah, but it was kind of fun in that we were all there as a group, but then very quickly the people that weren't into that kind of thing dissipated, and then it was like, just very few people.
We did find some lovely, lovely cocktails in the Waiku
bar. So which we came back to on another day.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Which was a lovely little place, and it was really nice and chilled, and the cocktails were really good.
Yeah,
and the vibe was very low key and very very funky. So I really like that place. Anyway, so the next. That was all very, very above board. There was no naughtiness really going on. We were sort of catching up with people that we've seen before.
And it was really lovely. It was really fun.
Yeah, and getting to know a little bit about some of the new people that we hadn't met. The next day, right, this was the Babylon pool party.
Oh, the party. Now, had we heard anything in advance about this party?
So this party is kind of famous. And there was also a tour, by the way, on this day of the village. So we didn't go on that because we'd already toured around quite a bit.
Around on our own.
So people went to that, and then the idea was they would then all come over to this pool party.
Yeah, which starts at about 2:30.
Yeah, about that. So we got there a bit early. We got there about 20 minutes early because we thought it started early.
Yeah, we did.
And then we literally waited at the gates, and because we had spicy match bands on, we got in for free and we got to jump the queue.
Which was huge. The queue was enormous. It was all the way down the back through some car park. And we looked at that and went, oh my God, this is going to be rammed when it does open, because there were huge amounts of people there.
So in great British tradition, we got in, and then you immediately shuffled yourself to the end of the pool where you found like this basket bed thing.
I found one remaining good spot to stash. I mean, which was good, which was really handy because it turned out to be a base camp for all of our group when they turned up, because we could just stash all our bags in one area because there's no lockers from what I can see.
And we grabbed one little, basically it was a pool, quite a medium-sized pool, I'd say, with literally like foam beds all around it, or foam like little tiny, like almost like yoga mats. And it had another shelf around it that had the similar thing all over again. And
And then there's
with a
a
bunch
bar
of
at the
umbrellas and a
end.
bar at the end.
Yeah.
So we kind of made our base camp, grabbed one extra bed just in case, because there was one next to us. And
Yeah.
the second we put that down, like everyone else appeared that were going to the party, and they just started, grabbing anything that was spare.
Yeah.
So we were quite lucky in that we'd made that base camp for our group.
Yeah, that was handy.
So it was very much that people were just like bobbling along the pool, and they were playing like relatively all right music, and it was all
Wasn't
kind of
loud,
it was all kind of chill
Yeah.
for a couple of hours, and then
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock hit, or 4 o'clock, or whatever time, because they were there for a couple of hours,
Yeah.
and we were just having nice drinks and just chatting to people. And it was all kind of, we weren't really chatting to anyone outside of our group because we didn't feel as though we hadn't really met all of our group properly, but we were still sort of getting to know them. And then the DJ comes on,
Yeah.
and it went fucking mental.
Yeah. So when I refer to things like, end of days and, last orgies of the decade, that's pretty much what then started.
Well, it kind of
It started a bit slow.
it kind of almost started with this trio of women started playing with each other on
On the side of the pool.
side of the pool in front of the stage, and they were just attendees, and then they got out a dildo. They very sensibly cleaned it using the pool water. Not sure how I feel about that. And then basically started going to town on each other.
Yeah.
And then people were dancing, then people were fucking, and
Yeah.
then now
All around.
all around.
In and around the pool.
Now, what I wasn't too sure about, I mean, you sat back quite a bit in the seat and kind of
was
observed
just watching
things.
everything.
I was
'cause
kind of
it's
in
a
the-
lot to take in.
It really was. I was in the water, sort of, not in the midst of it, but just sort of chatting to people.
We were a group of people.
'Cause, yeah, we were-
new, chatting.
It was kind of weird in that we were all sort of continuing to talk and have conversations while all of this nonsense was escalating around us. And as the afternoon went on, should I say, it was just more and more like
More
fucking
bodies,
and blowjobs and whatever going on and on and
Yeah.
on.
But also people dancing like crazy.
Yeah.
But people wearing outfits and dancing.
Yeah, so people would kept turning up, and they were dressed differently, and then but it was just madness.
It's carnage, wasn't it?
And it kind of like what I didn't get any sense of, or what I couldn't really get a handle on, was were people playing with their own partners? Were they playing within their own groups? Were they swapping? Were they bringing anyone on board? And I think there was a whole mix of that.
There was a mix, I think.
It felt very much like most people were staying within their lanes, but in terms of looking around the place, it was fucking banana.
Yeah. And then there was sort of some walk through showers at the end, like 2, I think, that you could walk through and just like shower off on your way to the bar.
Yeah, like pull a cord and it would just
and
give
there
you
were
a quick
people
wash.
fucking in there as
Yeah.
well. Like, and then outside the bathrooms, people fucking there. It was just all around you. It was sensory overload if you found that too much. I didn't actually find it too much. I worried it might be overwhelming for me, not because I'm prudish and I don't want to see that, but because I don't think I'd been in an environment where it was so full on. But actually, there was nothing that particularly shocked me. It wasn't like hugely overt, because I kind of knew, well, we're in a place where anything goes, so that's what you're going to see, maybe.
I think for me, I felt that I almost expected more due to the way that people have built it up. And I think we've been very sort of lucky in a swinging career in that we've seen lots of different things. We've been in orgies of like 15 people or whatever. We've seen playrooms that are just rammed.
Yeah.
So it was really just an outside version of that, like Desire, but turned up to 11.
Yeah.
I think where I struggled a bit, I didn't quite understand what the deal was, like where you interact, how people interact, were they interacting? And I kind of felt like we were observers to this strange party. I felt like we were the watchers in many situations with this. And I kind of couldn't quite get a grasp on like what the deal was with people. So I kind of, it felt like, I mean, I know you weren't keen particularly on interacting, but I was like, it felt a bit of an impenetrable barrier to me. To not that I was necessarily champing at the bit to get involved with that, but it was also I didn't quite know what the deal was with that.
Did you feel that you would have liked to have just wandered over to a random group of people who were having sex and trying to integrate with that?
I don't know. No, well, I mean, for one, no one approached us.
No.
And I think part of that was down to where, I mean, you were sat at that side, so you were you had your little shield bubble around you pretty much.
I did get in the pool a few times, but
for the most part,
I did like sitting on my little throne and watching what was going on.
This sort of meeting.
I had people come sit next to me. I wasn't on my own.
Yes, but you had people from our group chatting to you occasionally.
Yeah.
But there wasn't anyone coming over to try and interact in that sort of sense.
No one came over and touched me up or anything.
No. And I think that was I kind of almost expected that in a way. And I didn't quite, and this is what I mean, I didn't quite get it in terms of how it had been explained to me, in terms of, yes, it's madness. But I think when people talk about CAP, there's a whole host of different experiences you can have. And the pool party is one of the big ones. Yeah. And I think that had conflated a bit in my head about the foam or mousse party. So I almost expected the people to be a bit like grabbing and reaching out and it being
me too. But
carnagey, but that really wasn't the case. So yeah, I did expect that to be the case with this, but it really wasn't. So we kind of got to about 5:30.
And it closes at 6.
And then it closes at 6. And, people can stay on site, and I guess for them, the party never ends.
Yeah.
But we had to go back to our place because we were due to go to...
Another party.
We were due to go to a place called Melrose, and I hadn't really looked at what this was or given it any consideration.
We walked past it when it was closed during the day.
Yeah, but again,
but we didn't know what it was. No.
Twigged that. I think because I'd kind of just not really looked at the agenda at all. I was kind of like, what's next? All I knew was that certain nights there were certain colours, and this one was like the Black Knight, not the Black Knight. That's a very different character, but wearing black. So we got changed, and we were very much early, and I think things don't really. It's a bit like desiring that things don't ever run to time. And as we walked past Melrose, which is basically a nightclub pub kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
It was empty, and there was none of our group in there.
There were like 4 people in there, and they weren't anyone we knew.
Yeah, so we circled it a few times,
trying to. It's like 10:15.
Yeah, and nothing starts until late unless it's a daytime thing. So we did a few circles around, and eventually we spotted a couple of people that we knew and went in, and it was again very dancey, very rammed, very busy pub nightclub thing.
Quite warm.
Again, it's all quite warm there, but there's people absolutely jam-packed in there.
Yeah. And podium dancers went there as well.
Yeah, it's quite a quirky-looking place.
Yeah.
It's kind of got some nice, like a sort of almost Western sci-fi kind of vibe. But for me, I was like, well, I don't really want to go to a nightclub. I've just listened to all day of dance music. Now, I don't particularly want to do it, and I can't talk to anyone because you can't hear. So we went outside with some friends and chatted to them for a little bit, and we did suggest to them, hey, did you want to come back to our room? Now, what we've subsequently found out, there's been some lost in translation with them, and they were like, no, we're just going to dance and think. I don't think they quite realised we were being like nod, wink, wink, let's come back and be naughty. And that kind of passed them by. So I don't think, we weren't like rejected by any stretch. We were like, oh, that's fine. That's cool.
Really clear.
So we just kind of went back to we wandered around. It's always nice wandering around at CAP because there's always so much to see and so many sights. But we just headed back to our place.
Oh, hilariously, we tried to get back into YQ, but they wouldn't let you in because you didn't have a shirt on.
Yeah, because I had a vest on instead. That was fun.
But I'm walking with my nipples out, and I was allowed in.
Actually, I think that was the next one, from what I can gather. But so,
maybe
that was the white and pink one.
Yeah, you could be right.
There's a reason, because this will come up later. We tried going there anyway. So the following day, and I appreciate this as just a ramp up of a holiday, but it's a good way to frame it, I guess. We kind of actually made it all the way through to Thursday.
Yeah.
Right? It hadn't been naughty. There hadn't been any kind of really real interactions like this.
We did a couple of kisses here and there.
But that was about it. This was very much a rest day. Like the daytime was very much chill out, hang around, don't do too much. I can't remember. Was this the day that we went to the YQ place?
Yeah,
that was
beautiful.
A really lovely, nice bar. Very chilled out
vibe compared to obviously the carnage of a Babylon party. And it was lovely. It was like a beach club kind of vibe with a bar, really big pool, freezing cold pool, in fact, but beautiful cabana beds all around the pool, which you had to reserve, I think, and you have to pay for. But if you don't want to get one of those, then you can just chill out in the pool or just sit on the side. And you can eat there as well. I didn't have any food there, but I'm told it was very, very good food, and it did look good.
Reminded me of a really chilled version of the boat party thing that we went
In Croatia,
in Thailand.
Oh, yeah.
Really nice, just sort of
Oh,
well
yeah.
decorated, well served.
It was lovely.
It felt a bit special being in there. So
It felt like a different side of Cap to
Yeah.
what we'd seen so far, because it was a bit, not elite, but it was definitely a different level of chill out.
Yeah, this is where we find we didn't even go there on that day. But as a venue, regardless, it was really nice, really
Lovely.
chilled. And it felt like you were getting your money's worth there,
Yeah.
even though you spent a bit more getting your drinks or whatever. So
That's lovely.
I felt like, everything else has felt a bit, not cheap, but it's felt a bit normal.
A little bit.
And
Really dancey.
Yeah, and this was just so chilled out and whatever. So that night, what was it? The Babylon party evening?
This might be in the white.
This is pink and white.
Pink and white,
So
yeah.
we went to the Babylon white and pink thing, but it was,
Back to the scene of the crime.
yeah. But strangely, it just kind of went on and then finished. And nothing
it finished
happened.
at 12.
Yeah, we were just all stood around having drinks, and there was some
then
fun
we went.
conversations, and we chatted to people. There wasn't any naughtiness going on around the pool.
No.
And then literally, it was like, right, that's it, off you go. And they ushered us out.
I didn't really see any naughtiness, if I'm honest.
I think there was a little bit.
but nothing massive.
We bumped into some really nice listeners. That was cool.
We talked to those people. It was lovely.
Once you went towards the pool and away from the bar, you couldn't really hear, or I couldn't really hear anything. So it was a very difficult conversations there. But as long as you stayed in the bar, you were generally okay and able to have a good chat.
Yeah.
But it hit 12 o'clock and we were literally ushered out. Like swept out of the place. It was quite funny. So
Come on, get out.
So a group, like we all kind of piled out as a group.
This night.
And then, so one group carried up, they were sort of ahead of us and they were moving. And then we got to a junction and didn't see which way they went.
Right.
So we kind of went a different way and the group separated into two sections.
Yeah.
And then someone said, why don't we go to Tantra, the club?
Let's try a club.
Let's try a club. Let's go to Tantra. That's open.
Yes. So there's loads of clubs, and we were going to try some clubs as part of the event, but we thought it'd be good to try
To go off
one of the
piste.
local ones.
Yeah. So we get to Tantra and there's about, 8 of us, I guess.
Yeah, quite a big group.
It's like not a bad sized group. So we get there and they say that I can't come in because I'm wearing tailored shorts. I'm actually wearing, never mind my sort of vest top. They don't give a fuck about that.
Oh, it's the shorts.
It's the shorts that they don't like, even though they are shorts from a suit. They are bright pink.
literally like suit trousers.
From a 3-piece suit.
Shorts.
Yeah. So
Really smart.
they say you can come in, but you have to rent trousers.
Long trousers.
Long trousers. In the meantime, one of our friends just whips his shorts off and just comes in his pants and they're fine. He doesn't like come in his pants, but they let him in his pants. And I'm like trying to do that and they're not letting me.
I know.
So I get to the
Yeah.
clothes thing. So friends have already gone in and she's had to rent some shoes. She's had to exchange her trainers for
She
some...
had like tennis shoes
Yeah.
on, and they were like, no, you're going to have to rent some shoes. You need heels.
Which I could absolutely understand if this was a high-level, exciting, sexy club.
And also, I wasn't wearing heels. I had flip-flops on, right?
Yeah, but-
no, they were sparkly flip-flops,
Yeah.
I grant you that. But they definitely weren't heels. And they let me in.
So I get to the clothing bit or the secondary counter and she says, which size? And I'm like, 34. I'm a waist 34. Quite pleased with that.
And this is all French.
All in French,
So,
yeah. So
a bit of a barrier going on.
And she goes, 44. And she looks me up and down and goes, 44. And I went, no, 34. And she shakes her head at me. I'm being shamed by that dickhead behind the counter. So I literally take my pink shorts off, right? And show her the actual label. And she goes, oh, waltzes off and comes back with this pair of fucking black chinos, basically. And
Rain pipe legs.
they are the tightest fucking legs. And they fit, waist-wise, they fit absolutely perfectly. And I do give her a little bit of bird flipping as I put them on. I'm a little bit subtle about it, but they're fine. So I walk off doing lunges.
And how much do you have to pay for the
€7
privilege?
fucking euros.
€7
For the privilege
on top of the entrance
of
fee.
borrowing these stupid fucking trousers. So anyway, we get in and immediately there's like a disco bar, right?
Yeah.
And we are told on the bottom floor, which is where we're at, is single guys are allowed. So we get in there and it is full of single guys.
Oh my God, there's so many.
And there's about 3 couples in there, which I think, given the crowd, that we're probably half of that, and the rest of the crowd of our lot follows in, and we are pretty much like the only supply of women in this lifeblood area. So then there's a big corridor of rooms, all these little roomy things. So we walk down it, and it is stacked. Stacked there with single guys. Just
can't take drinks down there either, can you?
No, but they're all literally like on us, like fucking raptors.
Yeah.
They are
just
watching, following,
shadows.
waiting for something to happen. So we shuffle down, look at the thing, and we're like, nah, no.
So many.
So we go upstairs thinking, you know what? If this is downstairs, it's fine. It's the single guy area. They've probably not spent any money on it. They've probably just provided it as a service. Upstairs, got to be nice, right? No, it fucking wasn't. You described it as an airport waiting lounge.
I did. It was like an airport departure lounge where everyone's kind of on, you know, when you get like seats back to back in an airport lounge where everyone's just sat there waiting, and then there's people and people and people. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to see.
But this was the thing. There was a bar up there, but it didn't feel like there was a dance floor. There was no space. There were no rooms as far as I could see.
No, all the beds, the play beds were kind of in the middle where people were sitting, having drinks, but also playing around them as well.
Yeah, so if people wanted to play, they almost kind of rolled their partner back onto their back and just started.
Just had to shove someone out the way.
Yeah, it was really weird, and I think we stayed there for the best part of one drink.
Well, the other thing that I remember from this place is as you approach that departure lounge, there was a smoking area. Now, I found this in a lot of places in Cap, but there's like a designated smoking area, but inside an establishment sometimes. So smoking's quite common over there. And the smoking area is literally next to this couple's lounge. And there was no escape from it at all from the smoke because it wafted in there. You could smell it in the air. It was all around you. So if you're a non-smoker, it's really quite a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then it was really quite random people as well. What seemed to be like couples with like guys hanging around as well. There was a bar and we got some water, excitingly, because I don't think any of us particularly wanted to hang around in there and stay. But we thought while we're here, we'll just sit for half an hour and chat.
I don't think
so. We sat there awkwardly with our backs to each other on this awkward bed.
It definitely wasn't half an hour. I think we
maybe
had,
not even that.
As soon as that drink was gone, it was like we noped our way out.
We
of there.
unanimously
It felt
it was not a good club. It was very tacky.
It felt seedy. It felt quite tacky. It felt very functional upstairs. It didn't feel sexy.
No.
And that's, excluding my drain pipe trousers and weird vest combo that I was wearing.
You remember years ago when we first started like venturing out to clubs, and I always remember saying to you, I don't ever want to walk into a place and feel ashamed of the hobby we have, right? I don't ever want to sit in a place and feel made to feel shameful or seedy or feel like I'm just in this perfunctory, seedy area that is just for one reason and one reason.
You know what it reminds me of? It's like when people come and visit us, right? And they're like, should we go to your local pub? And I go, no, our local pub's a fucking shithole.
There'll be a fight and it'll be horrible.
Yeah, and they're like, but it's your local pub.
No.
And I'm like, I'm ashamed that is my local pub.
Yeah.
And it would be like that, wouldn't it? Oh, let's go to this place. You've been there. And I'd be like no.
It was horrid.
So I think at this stage, we were like, okay, let's go back.
Yeah,
and everyone kind of went their separate ways. Some people went to try and find another club.
Oh, we went to try and find the Turkish baths.
Yeah, so I think lots of people went in different directions, and we decided that we'd
that's that.
Now, I think at this point, let's have a little bit of a talk about where our heads were at, and then let's carry on with the next bit in our next episode.
Oh.
Let's make this a two-part.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, a cliffhanger.
Oh, choose your own adventure.
Yeah, because I think this, because it is a tale.
This is a pivotal point, I think.
So we had a bit of a chat.
We did.
When we got back. And this is something that I really want to explore at a certain point, and probably when we've done part 2 of Capdag, the adventures and final thoughts on that. Next topic I want to look at is, are we good swingers? And by that, are we successful swingers? And there's a few terms of reference for that. But certainly I felt like we'd gone to these places.
Yeah.
Like we'd been at these parties. And I wasn't sulking, But it did feel like we hadn't made any connections.
And we hadn't swung.
Yeah, so I felt that we hadn't really done anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that we'd gone to like the pool parties
Yeah.
and we'd kind of sat back and observed. And we hadn't really, no one had welcomed us in or initiated anything. And that tends to be we tend to be a little bit more, let them come to us. It's a little bit. It's a bit bare necessities for us and they'll come to you. And I think we're not great at finding people, particularly at events.
All right.
And, or even on club nights.
Okay.
And for me, I was starting to think, well, should we have gone on this adventure with the fact that we're not great at doing this? And I didn't have a wobble. I think I just felt that we were kind of a bit shit. And it was frustrating me that I wasn't quite sure. Is it that we are really choosy? Is it that we give off a vibe? Is it that we're not approachable? Is it that we're not attractive? Is it that we're just not very good at reaching out to people? And all this stuff was in my head. And I think when I was looking at it, I was thinking about, we've been to this pool party, very sexy, very fucking full on thing, but we didn't integrate. Granted, it was like day one or whatever, or day two of adventures. We'd been getting to know people. Granted, again, a number of nightclubs, probably not the best thing for us.
Right.
But also there was a group of people that we weren't particularly good at working between ourselves to figure out if there was anyone that we were attracted to.
Or if they were attracted to us.
Yeah. Which is another challenge. And then we'd kind of gone to a club and okay, the club was a washout.
Yeah.
But it was enough to make me think, are we any good at this stuff? And should we go to these things? And because the last time we did last few times, in fact, that we've been to events, it's been a bit hit and miss on the old us actually playing with people. In fact, the last time I'd say we were really, really successful at it was probably when we did the Life on the Swing set takeover in Desire in 2019. So our club sort of, and by this I mean people that we don't know.
So you're not counting people that we know within a group of people that we've gone with.
Yeah. So
you're counting new.
Yeah. So if, for example, we're hosting an event and people that we know that we've played with are there,
you're not counting that.
I'm not counting that as a thing.
Okay.
And it made me think, is our style, is it much more about having connections with people that we, that we've established connections, or they can be new, but we do know them, and going to places with them rather than going to somewhere where we don't have those type of connections built in. And it just made me wonder, and the question that kept coming to my head was, are we good at swinging, I guess is the thing, right? And, or at least good at the events and clubs angle of it.
And I think I remember asking you, and we had a good talk. It wasn't an argument. It wasn't like a throwing shade at each other. It was a constructive conversation, I think. And I didn't disagree, but also I counted a few questions of my own, which were, do you define your success as, and let's label it swinger, as how many people you sleep with? Or do you define being a swinger as having an interest in all things ethically open and non-monogamous? Do you have to have sex with someone to validate your kind of your membership of Swingerville? Because that kind of, some people don't necessarily define that as, well, unless you actually have sex with people, you're not swingers. You could just argue that by immersing yourself in an environment where, swinging is happening, then your relationship is open and you're living that lifestyle. And
those are all valid
Yeah.
valid questions. And I think that my frustration was, I think, that we'd come to that to God. So this isn't a cheap event, right?
No,
We've paid the best part of what?
$3,000?
$3,000 plus flights, plus extras, plus spending or whatever to get there and do this for a week. If our ability to enjoy that week on a, because we could have just gone to CAP and any time and bit the bullet and been brave and do it. And I think part of the reason for doing it with this particular group is that there was safety in numbers, right? So
people we knew.
So there was a kind of, we're going there, we're going to get a sense of what it's like. So if we want to go there again, fine. But it was this kind of, are we getting value from the event
if we're not going out and playing and doing these things because we're spending and I'm not suggesting that it's a return on money. It's just should we have chosen a different option that might have better suited us? Like, because we could have literally, if you think about it, right, we could say, okay, $3,000. We could literally rent an Airbnb for a week somewhere in France or wherever in the south of France if we wanted to, fly out there and bring 6 friends for that amount of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's about actual swinging and having those interactions and those connections. Now, I get that there is part of it also. There is a travel and let's see what it's like and let's see how we feel. But it was kind of in the back of my head, like this question, are we good at this? Do we know what's going on? Can we do this? Are we getting the most of a holiday, our time, our effort, connections? Is it just that these things are not for us? Because it wasn't necessarily about playing, but it was about going out and interacting with people. And I think we'd spoken to people that we already know and that we'd met previously. But actually going out and starting new conversations with new people, we are absolutely fucking shit at it. Like, universally, awfully, terribly fucking shit between the two of us. Like, if you put us in a room with people and we're not working, we will not engage. And the look on your face suggests that if people come near you, you'll stab them.
Oh my God, I'm not that bad.
You are.
I'm not.
You really are. I'm not putting all of that blame of this interaction on you, but that is part of it. I think also I'm like not great at going, hey, let's have a conversation. And as a unit, we're even worse because we're like, well, why should we talk to them? Because talking to us two is always going to be better. But also our ability to go, who do we like around the pool is awful. It's just impossible. And it's impossible to work that between us. So I'll say to you, for example, who do you like? And you're like, none of them. And you're like, well, how would I know who I like? I've not spoken to any of them. Well, who do you want to speak to? Well, no one. So it's
still quite like that. I don't.
I am. I mean, obviously, I'm exaggerating for
talk to people.
some comedic purposes. But your ideal would be that you just sit there in a corner sunbathing, and occasionally someone wanders over and speaks to you, and that doesn't happen necessarily like that.
No.
And particularly if people don't know how to read your body language, because it does come across like you don't want anyone to fucking come near you. And I'm sort of a bit. What I don't want to do is strike up conversations and potential sort of interactions with people where I don't know how you feel with them. So, like, with all of this into the mix and all of the other stuff I've mentioned, my take was like, are we shit swinging? So, and this is where I kind of, it was like, well, should we have even come on this holiday? Like, and whilst I enjoyed, like at this point, right? And this may all change come next episode. Who knows what will happen? But I really felt like we could have just gone anywhere on holiday and explored different things and seen different items. And I'd have gone to a lot less nightclubs and I'd have probably gone to some better restaurants. And like the only thing that would have been missing is the community that was brought there through Spicy and Libertine.
Yeah.
And even then, there's only a limited number of them that I know and have met before that I was interested in talking to again.
Fair.
So that was my dilemma at this point. What about you? How did you feel at this point?
So I was very cognizant that I'm not going to say you were unhappy or you were cross, because you weren't cross, but you were definitely mulling something over, and I knew that. I was very reticent to just bin off the clubs and go, oh my God, I don't like dance music, I don't like noise, let's go, without at least trying, because I know I didn't want you to then turn and go, oh my God, like, seriously, you know?
But you're trying in a dance club is... I
know.
It's not really. It's not really trying at all.
I don't know how to try.
You know when
and enjoy a loud dance music club. I just don't know how to do it because I don't like it.
It's like when the kids were growing up, and you'd be like, and they're like, well, "Is that homework right?" And I was like, "Have you tried?" And like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Have you tried your best?" And they go, "Yeah, sure have tried my best." And I'm like, I didn't say this to them, but I'm like, fuck, have you tried your best? You have put in the most bare minimum of I am submitting something and then I don't have to worry about this nonsense. And I think your level of trying to like the nightclubs was slightly less than that.
Oh my God. I mean,
Is that fair?
not entirely, but it's all right. There's some accuracy in the assessment, but I will say I know I don't like those environments. I know that. I don't think I realised just how much we were going to be immersed in some of that. Now, fine, I could have not gone. What's the point of that? We're there to enjoy and go and try all of the things on the agendas, and that's fine. But I'm more comfortable when I can at least talk to someone and hear someone, right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't do either of those things in any of these places so far. Not in the evening ones.
No, I think during the daytime was a bit.
The daytime is different.
It was a bit different.
I know we talk to people during the day because I remember having conversations. I saw you having conversations. In fact, we spent very little time together during the day in the parties, in the pools, because we were kind of talking to different people. And that was cool. That was fine. I know this because I remember them.
No, I'm not.
All right. So at this point, you asking me how I was feeling. And I remember thinking, no. We have talked to people during the daytime things. All right. We've caught up with people. We've chatted to people. We've reconnected with people that we knew. Yeah.
When I say chatting to people, though,
Yeah.
I think there is the connecting to people that you already know,
Right.
and then there's the talking to people that you don't know.
I
And-
did talk to new people. I definitely did talk to new people.
I technically,
Yes.
you may be correct.
I did.
You may have spoken to a barman,
Pipe down. I
and-
definitely spoke to
and you may have said
people.
thank you to someone who held the door open.
This
for
is
you.
not true. This is an absolute lie. I definitely did speak to
Okay.
some new people.
Well, let's not drag that. Okay,
Day.
okay, all right,
I
fine.
found it difficult during the evening things because it was loud music, whistles, blah, blah, blah. All that. I couldn't be doing it. It just isn't my thing. I can't hear shit. So, yeah. So you're asking me where my head was at when you were having this like confession of
Thought dump.
Yes. So I felt bad because it's both our holidays, right?
Yeah.
We're both to try and enjoy these things together. We put a lot of risk into going to a place where we'd never been before and we didn't know how we were going to fare with it. But I was kind of excited that we'd gone to another place together for the first time.
Yeah.
I loved the fact that we'd done that regardless.
But I think the joy of that bit was very much within the first couple of days.
Quite possibly.
And
we
I
were
think
just getting
when it was just us
bearings.
bimbling around, because actually that was the exploration of it.
Yeah.
I think the talking to new people bit, I'm not sure that we did meet many, if any, new people properly.
But we haven't got to part 2 yet.
Well, we haven't got to part 2, and that is I'm building.
Will the adventure now go next?
Yes. When do we announce our impending divorce?
Oh
When?
my God, no.
Why have you gone C3PO? Oh my God. So I think, ultimately it was this moment. It felt like that was the point where I was like, well, do we do these things? Do we go on these things again? And I think I can't answer that until we've got through the second part.
I get that. Do you think every single person that goes to CAP and goes to these things, do you think they all play with someone?
I would say most
Prolifically?
well, not necessarily prolifically, but I think most people have some sort of encounter there. I'd be surprised if they didn't. It was, well, if they're going with a sort of swinger mentality.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously everyone goes for different reasons, but I think if you're going to the swinger clubs and you're going to whatever, the chances are you're going to do, it's available to you if you want. Whether you find the people that are for you is part of the challenge. But I do think they probably, like most people, will probably find something there for them. I'm trying not to get desperately into spoilers.
I know.
Because the next part is some interesting stuff.
Yes.
And I think, we've got the glamour nightclub, the glamour club. We've got the moose party or the foam party, moose. And we've also got like an odd day as well to cover.
Yeah.
And we've got some
we have to do that justice.
Yeah, and we've got some changing situations. So, I think to be able to answer honestly, we've got to talk through the next part.
The next part.
Yeah. And what you've got to do, gentle listener, is come
Tune
back.
in.
So what we're going to do is,
Take a 2 month break.
No. I'm going to produce another one in a week's time.
Okay.
And it's
So,
gonna be
because
out-
We missed a week.
We missed a week.
So
And then, so we'll do 2 over a week. And then we may come back and have a bit of a conversation
Okay.
about this whole Are We Good Swingers? What I'd really like to hear from our listeners is if you find yourself standing there going, why the fuck are we doing this? Why are we here on this mad adventure? Or how do we work this? Or are we doing the right thing? Or have we found our style? I'd love to hear from you. If you've been in a similar situation or if you've kind of gone,
Am I doing this right?
yeah,
Am I fucking things up?
yeah.
Yeah.
Please send us an email, a tweet or whatever, and let us know where you're at. And then in the meantime, we're going to go away. Hopefully my voice will be slightly further back to normal.
By then I'll have it.
Yeah, probably. We'll have given it to another 6 people at that point. And then...
Wait, if only we could meet another 6 people.
Well, we can, because we've got a wonderful collection of friends that we see on a regular basis, hence my conversation about this. But yeah, reach out to us, let us know, and hopefully you're coming along and you'll see us in September as well. But obviously we'll be back before then.
Will you?
Or will you? Yes, will you? Have you got any good legal aid available? Thank you. Mrs. H, do your thing.
Well, thank you for having into our bed.